Hello. So I just got, oh, Tucker. Hello, Tucker. Hi, BB. Hi, Boo Radley. So I just got home and we went to a wedding reception. We didn't stay very long. We only stayed like an hour. We didn't really know anybody there because the people that Alex works with, they didn't end up coming. Okay, I have to show you something, but it's still out here. It's so cute. Oh, it is. They are still out here. So dogs were running around. See, there's our little patio now. It's all you want to see. Look at our patio when you just walk up here and be like, oh yeah, here's our nice little patio. Okay, but let me show you this over here. So PB comes out here and he wanders all around. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but way down here, there's 2 bunny rabbits and they just sit there. Why is it not focusing? What's the deal here, the focus? I did something wrong, hold on. Well, I wanted to show you guys, but okay, can you see now? Look. Do you see? There's 2 bunny rabbits sitting right there. Look at that. Bunny rabbits are supposed to be good luck. And they won't move until we go inside, probably, because they're so afraid of the most dangerous dogs in the world. Let's go inside. Come on. Come on. BB, come on. We're going inside, honey. So I cleaned up the house because I'm getting ready to do a live stream. Cleaned it up. Got candle lit over there. See? Cleaned it up. Cleaned up the kitchen. And just made a cup of coffee. My Keurig. With my Gimlets Jane mug. And I have my new candle lit that I just bought. Oh, look who just came in. It is my Mrs. Meyer's brand lavender candle. Which I went to the store today and I bought all of this Mrs. Meyer stuff. I bought the laundry stuff. They love these little mini Christmas trees. I don't know who sent these to me, but you guys, I'm telling you right now, my dogs love these. They're called Zook's Mini Natural Plus Vitamins and Minerals Trees Turkey and Cranberry Dressing, or Recipe. Okay. Who wants it? PP, you want one? They're very little. Boo Radley and Tucker. So, yeah. So, like, if you came over to our house at night, this is kind of, we leave the screen door open on the patio. So it's just like open there, because it's, you can hear all the crickets and stuff outside. And then we always just have candles burning in our kitchen. This is what it looks like. So, our big Bud Light case that our people. And I changed my booktubeathon TBR. So those are my books that I'm going to be reading tonight. And yeah, so this is the gift bags that I'm getting ready to send out to people. I got my envelopes and all the bags together. And yeah, so, okay. But while I'm doing my live stream, I'm going to close the door. Okay. So now I'm going to go upstairs and throw on some shorts real quick because, oh, you want to see my outfit of the day? Okay, well, you can't really see here. I'll put it in. So I wore this, and then I wore this brown belt that I have and these blue pants. And then I wore these Sperry's that I have. See? Aren't they cute? What? What? Hello? Hello? So, okay, so that's the little evening. Oh, Alex went to hear, did I already say this? Alex went to go hear his friend's band, or his friend's husband's band play, and then he's coming home right after that, so I didn't want to go. All right, you guys, I will see you in a little bit. Hello. Just did my live stream, got done with it, came inside, just gave PB his medicine, and Alex is done with his concert. He went over to his friend Amy's house, so I thought we would just go and sit up in the bed for a second. Come on, peeps. And relax. Come here, baby. Come here, honey. Okay. There you go. So, turn this bathroom light off. And we'll just hang out and talk for a little bit. Boo Radley has been really needy tonight. I'm not really sure what the deal is. Oh, look at this. He says, hello. Nope. Sit down. He was being all cute until I put the camera on him. I love you, Boo Radley. I love you, Tucker. Okay. Who is texting? Oh. It's my book club assistant, Mel. Okay, sweetheart, you're gonna, I'm filming right now, so you're gonna have to go over here and sit down, honey. Okay, good boy. Aww. Her dog passed away, it's so sad. And so she's been messaging me about that. It's sad, isn't it? Yeah, his name was Bandit. Okay. So, how have you guys been today? Whoo! Look at Pee-Pee. Hi, Pee-Pee. Boo Radley, these dogs, okay, if I'm not on camera, they can't be bothered to just be sitting up on me. But tonight, Boo Radley has been like on me. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to rain. Is it supposed to rain tonight, Boo Radley? Usually if the storms are coming, he gets real nervous and he's like shaking tonight. So let's look up the rain and see. Is the rain coming? No, it doesn't look like it. Don't look like any rain. Oh wait. Nope, doesn't look like any rain. No rain for us. But in Pee-Pee, you jumped down. But there's rain in New York. Tornado damages, dozens of buildings. In, Massachusetts, Providence, Connecticut. We got out of there right in time, didn't we? Yeah. That wouldn't have been very good, would it, Boo Radley, if we were caught there and all that. So let's see what the weather's going to be like this week. Tomorrow it's going to be 91, Monday 89, Tuesday rain, Wednesday... Oh my gosh. Not this week, but the next week, it's like rain every day they have it. So yeah, we'll plug in this phone. I'll respond to her in just a second. I need to respond to her in just a second. Okay. Honey, you're going to need to go sit over here for just a second while Dad talks to everybody, okay? There you go. Lay down. Okay, so. How are you guys doing tonight? Are you guys having a good night? Oh, hold on a second. Pee-Pee, come here. Come here. Come here, buddy. Okay. It's like story time. They always just want to hang out in bed. And, well, Boo Radley's being really good now. He's like, I shouldn't say this because as soon as I do, he'll move. But do you see he's just like kind of sitting there? And Tucker's right over here. Look at Tucker. Anyway, we went OUT-SIDE and we had a really good time. And everybody did their poops. And then we came inside and we had TREATS's. And I have to spell everything because if I don't. So I did this, I talked about this on my Peterson's channel, but I woke up this morning after having talked about all of this stuff, and my dad texted me and said that, thank you for the help, but that my stepmom decided that she was going to name the dog Pickles. So it's Pickles, and I said cousin, but I guess it's not cousin. I guess it's, if it would be my dad, it's your uncle Pickles. Pee-Pee said, ain't nobody my Uncle Pickles. Ain't nobody your Uncle Pickles. You took your medicine really good, like a good boy tonight. I'm very proud of you. He hasn't fought us on the medicine in quite some time. The doctor said that we can give him an extra half of the Lasix if he's coughing a lot in the morning. And yesterday he was coughing an awful lot. So, like when I woke up, he was coughing an awful lot. And yesterday he did not like the new food because he threw it up. But yesterday I gave him a half of a Lasix in the morning. Today he's been completely fine. He hasn't really coughed a whole lot. Have you, honey? He says, no, I'm good. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. You're going to be the longest living dog with a heart condition, aren't you? Mm-hmm. He said, yeah, pretty much. I don't even know that I have it. So, we should text Alex and see what he's doing. He'll probably call me or FaceTime me. If he FaceTimes me, won't that be funny? And I'll be like, I'm vlogging right now. They were getting ready to leave the bar and go over to... this is like one of his best friends from high school. And he's probably gonna be like, oh, we're just gonna have a glass of wine or something. He was like, if they were gonna go out, oh, look at this. So I went to Meijer today and I bought all kinds of that Mrs. Meyer's products that I love and lavender. I bought the shower gel and the lotion. And I bought the, I didn't buy the laundry detergent because I like the pods that you throw in. I bought the things like that you put on, like the little, you know, like the Gain little balls that you like throw on top of there. I got some of that, and then I got fabric softener, the sheets. But look at these sheets. They're like real weird. But I did it because of my white blanket that was in the dryer. And it was, I mean, it was folded and ready, and I put it in there and put it in refresh because our dryer that we have now is so fancy that you can just refresh it. Back in the day, our old dryer basically just it didn't do anything. Well, all right. Hi. What are you doing? Pee-pee, what do you think about the world? What do you think the meaning of life is, Pee-pee? He said, I think the meaning of life is take a nap, be nice to your dad and your brothers, eat good dinner, run around outside, see some bunny rabbits, laugh, snuggle next to your dads late at night. He knows the word dad. Guess who that is right now? It's your dad and he's FaceTiming me.
Oh my god, Pee-pee! Look at little Pee-pee! Yeah. Pee-pee! Pumpkin! Pee-pee! Boo!
I'm vlogging right now.
Oh. Hello, vlog. Hello, vlog world. We are just sitting in her porch, just having a glass of wine and drinking some wine and listening to Rufus the Soul before I order my Uber and go home.
Oh, okay. Well, I will see you in a little bit then. I'm getting ready to, I'm going to vlog here in bed for a little bit, and then I'm going to go and drive around and vlog, and I will see you when you get home.
So,
and Pee-pee,
you're gonna leave before I get home? Look at Pee-pee.
Yeah, because I want to get it done early tonight so I can read for Booktubeathon.
Are we going to brunch tomorrow?
Yes, of course we are going to brunch tomorrow.
What
time?
Say hi, you're on the vlog right now.
Hi. Hello, camera.
Say hi, Amy.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good.
I want to go to brunch tomorrow. Can I come?
Yeah, come with us.
Oh my god, I'm totally in.
It'll be like 2-ish.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, well, I'll see you in just a little bit.
Okay, babe.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Look at Pee-pee. He's like, who's that? That was your dad. He said it was. Uh-oh, look who's back. He's literally like, look at this. Well, hello. What are you doing? He said, oh, I gotta catch the red eye tonight. The red eye? Where are you going, Boo Radley? I can't tell you. It's a secret mission. A secret mission? He ain't got no secret missions. Yes, I do. Pee-pee always doubts me, but I'm basically a secret spy. He ain't no secret spy. Pee-pee said you're not a secret spy. He don't even know my life. Don't worry about it. I'm my own person. He ain't his own person. He said you're not your own person. I can hear him. I'm sitting a foot away from him. Pee-pee don't know me. He don't know my life. Where are you going? He goes, well, I'll give you a hint. There's pineapples, and I sleep in a treehouse, and I go lots of snorkeling, and I like hula dancing. You're going to Hawaii again? Boo Radley, why are you always going to Hawaii? Oh, I love Hawaii so much. It just is so relaxing. I got my lady friends there. Your lady friends? This is crazy, yeah. He like just looked up there like he knew that you guys were up there. Isn't that so funny? Yeah. Isn't that just so funny? Anyway. So you guys want to know what we do when we lay in bed late at night and we talk? This is what we do. And then I do, and Alex just like, but I say all kinds of stuff in Alex. Back in the day, PP would be this, okay, so this was the story that I would tell back in the day. I think I've told this on here actually a long time ago. I would do this story, and PP was like this aging child star, and he was now like in his 60s, right? And he lived in this apartment. This was his apartment up here, see? And he would like never leave, and he had this assistant. Who was his assistant? This one right here. But guess what his assistant's name was? Not Boo Radley, it was Deborah. Do you remember Deborah, PP? Oh, that horrible Deborah, she never works, not one bit. And I would say, and he would wake up in the morning, and we would be laying here, and he'd say, Deborah, get a note and take some notes. First of all, tell those people downstairs to stop working so loud. I'm trying to rest, Deborah. Gin and tonic with quickness. Get me my pack of cigarettes and a crystal ashtray. You know I don't like to smoke in bed, but when I have to, it has to be a crystal ashtray. Deborah, I want to write my memoirs, Deborah. He was very much kind of like Annie Mae. Boo Radley was so confused. He said, "Who, am I Deborah?" Do you guys want to get another brother or sister? Should we get another brother or sister? Your dad would not allow that, not one bit. We were in counseling. I don't often talk about the things that we talk about in counseling because I think that's private, but we talk, I mean, I vaguely talk about like, you know, how we talk about communication and things like that. But I don't specifically talk about the things that we talk, you know, in there we talk about. But whenever I say that I want to get another dog, Alex's response to that, like, is always, we're not getting any more dogs until they drop, and I don't want any more dogs. He always says that, right? So we were in our session one day, and I had never really thought of it this way, and, Boo Radley, you're kind of, like, really hurting my arm. Oh, let me relax for a second. He says, I do not care, okay? He's literally sleeping on my arm. Can you see this? Screenshot that. So anyway, he said, have you thought about the fact that I'm really having a hard time with like PP being sick and getting older and having heart disease, and I don't want to think about other dogs because that means that PP won't be here. And so we talked a lot about that, about being more considerate of each other and our feelings and things like that. So now I don't say that to Alex anymore. I don't ask him, you know, well, let's get another dog, because it is insensitive. And I think that, you know, that's one of the things that you have to figure out when you have, you know, a partner, is the ways and the things they want to be talked to, and certain things can set them off, you know what I mean? Like, and, you know, Alex is very sympathetic, I would say, but it's taken him some time because he never knew my mom, you know? To understand, like, when I'm telling stories about my mom, it's nostalgic to me, it's reminiscing. And, you know, sometimes back in the day, he'd be like, he'd look at me and be like, well, I've heard this story 3 times now. And I'd be like, okay, but I want to tell it again because it's important to me, you know? And, so, I don't know, it was interesting. I was in my live stream tonight, and somebody said in there, like, I can't wait to get into another relationship so I can start counseling. And I kind of joked about it, but, you know, like, and we're now down to every other week going to marriage counseling, and then like every 3rd week we go individually. And ouch. Ooh, okay, sorry, boo-boo. And it's great, you know. It's like really, really, it's really, really good. I was talking to Tanya about this tonight. I'm like in my head, I'm like, do I want to talk about this on here? So there's something that I've like really never talked about on, I mean, I've talked about it, but I haven't really talked at length about it on my vlogs before. And that is that I have a pretty severe OCD. And so if you don't know what OCD is, it's obsessive compulsive disorder. And a lot of addicts and alcoholics have it because it's based in a need to control things. Now, I used to have it with, like, it's shifted a lot for me through the years. And I've had it where like, I have to, like, maybe I have talked about it on here, where I'm, like, vacuuming lines in the carpet, and I have to see, like, the lines in the carpet, and, like, the house having to be spotless. And so, like, for example, I know this is gonna look crazy, but you guys know I sleep with a fan anyway. So, back in the day, do you see all that? That's Alex's underwear, not mine, but my jeans wadded up right there, and the fan, and, like, my shoes on the floor. Don't count the dust bunnies. But back in the day, like, those shoes would have had to be, like, in a straight line, and, like, the jeans, I wouldn't have taken them off if they weren't, you know, folded. We could never have had mismatched blankets on a bed. We would have had to have this bed made, like, perfectly, and that's a lot of stuff that I've worked through in the last 23 years, you know? And I never wanted to be medicated for it. Like, that was one of my things. I'm totally not against medication at all. I think there are some great medications out there that are safe for people. Go to a psychiatrist. I'm not an expert. I'm not somebody that can even diagnose or medicate. But, like, I think there probably are a lot of really good medications out there for, you know, certain issues, anxiety issues, OCD, and things like that. But I've always seen them as training wheels, and that, like, talk therapy counseling helps you get to the other side of all of that. And, you know, that, yes, there are a lot of people that have, like, severe depression and bipolar disorder and, you know, pretty severe issues that might need to be medicated for their entire life to help them. But by and large, a lot of issues like short-term anxiety or, you know, like OCD are things that if you are on medication, they're training wheels to help you get over it. I have a friend of mine that has pretty bad OCD. I think that, my nose is driving me crazy. I think she takes Prozac for it, but I could be wrong. But anyway, when I was with my ex, about halfway, maybe it was right after we broke up, I was coming home from work one day, and we, like, had this apartment where we would, like, walk in, you open the door, and then you walked up, like it was a private entrance, and I got, like, halfway up, and I'm a counter, okay, that's where my OCD is that I count now, and so I was like, okay, you have to skip every step, so it's like every second step you can go up, and, I just kind of sat down on the stairs, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, it was really ruling me, like, at that point. Like, you know, if I was, like, walking on a sidewalk, I'd have to, like, skip a step or skip a line. It sounds crazy, you guys, but, like, in your head, it makes sense, because what you think is, like, if I don't do this, like, something's gonna happen. So you're trying to control, like, an outcome, right? But you don't even know what the outcome is. It absolutely makes no sense. And, you know, like, I knew that there was nothing to it. So I just kind of, like, broke down on these steps. I started bawling, and I was like, you know that this is all just in your head. You've got to stop this, right? And so I started thinking about, like, why my OCD exists. And what I found out was that, like, at times in my life that, like, a lot of shit is going on. Like, when my mom was really sick, it came out. You know, when my ex and I broke up, it came out. Like, at pretty, like, stressful times in my life. Big stress, not stress like my nose is driving me crazy because I don't understand why it always does that. But anyway, it comes out. And so, like, big deal things, I notice it a lot. Like, I notice myself, like, okay, like, if I'm setting my alarm at night going, well, and here's the other thing. It used to be 4, and so I would tap my alarm clock 4 times, okay? Or I would check it 4 times. With, like, candles that I would, like, put out, like, I would tap it 4 times because I'm afraid of, like, fire and stuff like that. So, it's weird, okay? But, like, that's your sense of trying to control stuff. It only happens to me, like, at big issues in my life, like major stressful things. Now, my number switched a couple years ago, true story, and this is what's so weird about it, okay? Let me tell you how subliminal it is. I've been with my husband 10 years, and we were in counseling, and a month ago was the first time that I had actually talked about it in counseling. He had no clue. For 10 years, like, it really hadn't come up. Like, we've had some difficulties in our marriage, but, like, it never came up, right? Not to a point where he would notice it. Like, he never noticed it before. And, so... And the way that I wanted to tell him was when we were in the Dominican Republic, there was this woman, when we were eating the Asian restaurant, and I think I even talked about it on here, she, like, her husband, like, they were leaving, and, like, the waiter was, like, showing them out, and the husband said to the waiter, can you give her just a minute? And they were, like, in this private room with a table, and when he left, she was, like, doing this ritual. She was, like, touching everything once on either side, and then she, like, squared. I mean, and a lot of people with OCD, like, square and stuff like that. And, because you have to, like, you're trying to make order out of things. So I knew that's what she did. Then she stood in the doorway and she touched each side, then she walked out. And I was telling Alex what that was about, and Alex was like real intrigued by it. And he was like, you know, have you known a lot of people in recovery or working in the field that had it? And I'm like, mm-hmm. And I go, but I have it, like, to some degree. And he was like, well, what degree do you have it to? And I was like, and I don't know, like, why I was embarrassed about it to tell Alex, you know? And when it came up in counseling, I had talked to our counselor about it. And so I looked at him and I said, he goes, tell him. He goes, he's not going to care. You know, it's like, he's supportive of you. And I told him, and Alex was like, why did you feel like you could never share that with me? And I'm like, I'm embarrassed of it, you know? I don't understand it at some point. Well, like, in the last, I would say, 3 months, it comes out in, like, the most random times. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like, I haven't tapped an alarm clock or a door. I mean, I haven't done it for a long, long time. And then I was, like, leaving somewhere the other day. It was, like, a gas station or something. And my head just was, like, tap the door 3 times. Like, that's how it happens, honestly. And it came out of nowhere. And I told Tanya tonight, I was like, I don't know what is... We're going to see our counselor on Tuesday, so I'm going to bring it up in there. And I called my sponsor tonight, too, to talk to her about it. She was busy, so I couldn't talk to her. But I was like, Tanya, I don't know, like, why this is coming up all of a sudden again. And she was like, everything is going right in your life. And I was like, I know. And maybe that's what it is what we were talking about, is that right now I'm at a point where, like, my life... You guys, my nose is seriously driving me nuts. Hold on just a second. I don't understand what's going on. Well, maybe other than needing to get my nose hair trimmers out. But, you know, Tanya was like, well, do you think that maybe it's, like, fear that, like, you know, of the unknown? Now, I was talking about bullying the other night, remember? And I've talked a lot about that. And I think on some subliminal level, I said, you know, I don't know that I've ever worked through the trauma of being bullied or incidents that have happened in the past, you know? Like, I don't know that I've ever really worked on it. Like, really looked at it, you know? Like, my counselor has looked at me and said, you minimize things that have happened to you that are traumatic. Like, you have suffered traumatic experiences as a result of that. And I think, like... I'm somebody that doesn't like to give a lot of power to that, because if it has a lot of power, then I think I can't overcome it. And so I've done a lot of work on it. And so when I was talking to Tanya tonight, she's like, I just think, she's like, you know, everything is going so well. You know, you and Alex are at the best you've ever been in your marriage. You've got a trip coming up. You know, you're loving, you know, everything about your life right now, your career and, you know, like your job stuff. And she's like, and, you know, writing, your books are going great. YouTube's going great. You've made some really good friends recently on YouTube. She's like, you know, I think like everything is going really well. Oh my God, it's going to stop. Hold on a second. Where's the stop? So anyway, she said, I think, you know, like everything is going well. You guys have PP's like health issues under control. She's like, nothing's bad. She's like, you know, everything is going really well. And maybe you're afraid of like, well, what's going to disturb that? So here's the thing. Years ago when I was seeing a counselor, the counselor told me that the reason that my OCD, he believed, the reason that my OCD came out wasn't out of the fact, and I've done a lot of work through the years to not be ashamed and embarrassed of it. But one of the reasons why I honestly, like, my ex, I don't know that I ever told. And one of the reasons why I didn't necessarily want to talk to Alex about it was I didn't want him watching me for it, if that makes sense. You know, because it's like something that isn't really in my life today. It really isn't. Except for recently, it's come out like once every week or every 4 to 5 days it's come out. I'm like, what is going on? Like, why is it now? But this counselor that I saw back in the day, he said to me, you never knew when you walked through the door the condition of your mother, which is true. I didn't. I never knew when I came home from school if my mother would be, you know, in the library listening to music and drinking and smoking one cigarette after another and crying her eyes out, looking through, you know, scrapbooks, or if she would be passed out in bed, or if she'd be making chili and we'd be having a little house on the prairie night and, you know, windows were open and it was perfect family. I had no idea if she'd have a friend over that wouldn't leave till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and they would just sit there and drink and talk. You know, I didn't know whatever the condition was going to be of my life. And, you know, many times when I came home, I didn't understand then what I know now is that my mom's depression was so bad. Like, this is more of when I was like, let's say 12, 13 and under. That I would come home from school and my dad would be waiting there, or I would come out of school and I would get like a note, like 7th period, and they'd say your dad's going to pick you up. And so my dad would say, like he'd be outside of school, and I would, or my stepmom would, and so I would come out to the car and I would say, you know, like, well, what's going on? And he'd be like, oh, I just, you know, your mom just, you know, she wanted to, like, you know, do some stuff for a couple days, so you're going to come and stay with us. When really what I realized now is that my mom was going through some seriously, like, bad depression at that time, and she just couldn't care for me. And I didn't know that at the time, you know, I didn't understand it. And so I never knew what I was walking in the door. And this counselor said, you know, like, you grew up in this chaotic environment of toxicity. And so, you know, and then on top of that, to be bullied in school, you had no safe place. You know, and I had always thought that my home was my safe place. Well, if you think about it that way, then what I did was I created my safe place as being chaotic, right? Because at school, I was constantly like this. You know, I was constantly looking behind me like, when's it going to happen again? When's it going to happen again? And, so my home had to be my safe place. But then when I would go home, I didn't know what was going to happen there. And so it was this total chaos, right? That I was afraid of. Like, I didn't know, you know, if my mom was going to be drunk or sober. Like, I didn't, you know? And so out of that started, because we went back and we looked at things in high school, that yes, I was drinking and I was using drugs, but there was some OCD in there that like didn't make any sense whatsoever, like color coding my closet, okay? Not because I was so fascinated with fashion, but because my closet had to be perfectly aligned, color coded, right? Bookshelves and things like that. Hello?
Hello.
I'm upstairs vlogging.
I'm downstairs walking in.
Did you have fun?
I had a great time.
How was the band?
They were amazing.
Did the band play on?
This band played on.
What was the band's name?
Your Regine.
You're such a liar.
I am lying.
You're Vagine. What was it really called?
I don't know.
All right, well, I'm gonna get off.
No, it's my friend Sean's band.
Well, I'm gonna get off here and talk to him for a second, and then he's getting into the veggie chips. You eating veggie chips?
What?
Are you eating veggie chips?
I'm not eating anything at the moment.
Oh, I want Taco Bell.
You going to Taco Bell?
I'm hungry for Taco Bell.
I thought you were fasting.
Well, we went to that wedding reception and I ate that, what do you call it? That taco,
For yourself?
taco tico bar. Yeah.
So fasting was over.
I was gonna fast for a day, but it didn't happen.
Baby, you already ate chicken and rice.
Chicken and rice is nice. Doesn't my husband look so handsome? All right, well, I'm gonna get off here and talk to him for a second, and then I'll be back and I'm gonna vlog in just a little bit. Bye. Say bye, Alex.
Ciao.
How do I turn this off? I can't hit it. All right, I'm back. All right. Just left the house. Where is the... Oh, I put the remote. I'm so stupid. I do this every night. Alex and I sat there and talked for a second, and I was like, I'm gonna go vlog. I'm hungry. I'm like so hungry, and I know that I shouldn't get Taco Bell, but it's like the only thing that's open this late except for White Castle, and White Castle will mess up my stomach. So I probably just won't get anything. Anyway, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna talk about the OCD in a second and finish that story, but I'm like sidetracked because, do you ever, okay, I like rarely get on Facebook, so I don't know if I talked about this last night, but I'm kind of revamping my Facebook page a little bit. I brought a LaCroix. from the house. And anyway, I'm trying to revamp my Facebook page a little bit because I don't really ever use it, and I never really go over to Facebook. I rarely post even pictures over there anymore because I use Instagram and Twitter, and I'm trying to be better with Snapchat right now. I just went through like a bunch of messages. Here's the thing with Snapchat. Okay, let me just be real honest about social media. Like, I got a comment that somebody messaged me. I don't know, they had a suggestion for me or something. They were upset that I didn't respond to them on Instagram. I get so many messages, you guys, and I really try to keep up with them, and I try to answer like so many emails, so many Instagram messages, so many tweets a day. But like, I literally am so swamped right now, you guys, that, I mean, if there are messages in there that I haven't seen that are pertinent, I really apologize that I haven't gotten back to them. But here's part of the problem is, like, on Snapchat, so many people like don't send me, like, they don't send me messages like, hey Peter, blah blah blah, or a picture or whatever. They send me their Snapchats like they send to everybody else, which is like random pictures or random stories. And so if I have, let's say, 100 snaps that I have to go through every day, I would say, you know, like 70% of those are just people's random things that they're like, you know, adding me to so that people will watch it, so their number goes up or whatever. I don't know. And I don't want to block people, so I come to it and then I like start watching it. I'm like, oh, this is like 50 snaps about this person's life, and then I go through like 5 of those and then I actually get a message. And so it's hard to respond to like the Snapchat stuff. The Instagram stuff is really hard too. And so I apologize, but I'm trying to revamp my Facebook stuff. And I had like a message come up. Some of my messages come right, I mean, like when I get a message on Facebook, sometimes like the notification pops up on my phone like a text message. I don't know why. I don't know how to set any of this stuff. So it was this guy that we were friends with back in the day. Okay, this is like, it was from 2000. Okay, the message that he sent me today was like, hey, I'm doing this interview. Just want to let you know if you're interested in coming to this. He's doing like this interview for this magazine here in town. And he was like, if you want to come, like, I don't know. He does a lot of like, he's like a videographer locally. And so like he'll invite Alex and I to stuff every once in a while. So anyway, it was like a hot air balloon, something. I don't know what it was. But anyway. But right above it was this message, and I was like, what is this? And so like, it was this message that we had, and we have like seen him and been like very friendly with each other, and like everything's fine. So, but the message was from like 2011, and I went back and I read it, and it was so bizarre. It was like, so I don't really talk a lot about this on here, like what Alex and I did, but when we first got together, well, so I'm going to tell that story in a second. Let me finish the OCD thing for real quick, because I'm going to finish that up since I was telling it. So I'm going to come back and tell you guys about this message, because it was so funny, and it was about like meeting Corey Feldman and like at this bar, and okay, so anyway, the OCD stuff, like I've noticed like once a week it'll come up, right? And so I was saying it to Tanya tonight, and it reminded me of talking to the counselor, you know, that was like, well, you grew up in this toxic, chaotic environment. And I'm like, you know what, Tanya, I've done so much work on this, but like, I wonder if there are still things that I haven't worked on. And she's like, I think, Peter, that you have a really hard time when things are going well, because when things are good for you, you worry because you didn't grow up in that kind of environment, you know, that what's going to happen. And I was like, God, you're so right. Like, because everything in my life is going so well right now, you know? It's like, that's the fear, you know? Instead of becoming comfortable, and I can preach about this to other people, and I can tell other people about it in their own life, but with me, it's like, you know, I sometimes don't even see it. And it's like, everything's going well. I'm very good, like, here's the crazy thing. I'm very good with chaos. I can fix chaos in my life. Like, when chaos comes into my life, I can fix it. The successful, it's like I self-sabotage myself in my head. It's like when I started going back to college after I got sober, my response was, I'm too stupid, I can't do these classes. And I've talked about like taking finite math and stuff, and how I actually wasn't as stupid as I thought I was, that I actually could kind of pass some of these classes and do very well. And then I went to graduate school and graduated like the top of my class, you know? And so there was no truth to that. But today, it's almost like I like chaos to fix. And I do think that's why, like, I enjoy doing the drama videos, when I see, like, the drama go on and I say, okay, this is what I would do with this. Like, I'm a problem solver by nature. But when things are just calm, like, I struggle with that. So I think that's why it's coming out recently. And thank God it's not coming out a lot, you know? But it's coming out to some degree. So, I mean, once a week is more than it was coming out, like, 3 months ago. But anyway, so that's the OCD thing. I don't know why I don't talk about it on here. I don't really, like, I wouldn't say that I'm embarrassed of it, necessarily. Like, I don't know why I didn't tell Alex. I just, you know, it was like, it hasn't really been prevalent in the majority of our relationship. So, there really hasn't been, like, a need to tell him. And when I told him in counseling, he just was like, okay. Like, okay, what does that mean? Like, you know? And, so it wasn't like it was any big deal. I think society has an idea of how certain things are. You know, like, this is why I'm really, like, an advocate for mental health help and mental health understanding in our country. Because, you know, whatever level it is, whether you suffer from minor anxiety or, you know, small case OCD like me, all the way up to, like, severe bipolar disorder or, you know, like, schizophrenia, schizoid disorder, you know, whatever. There's a lack of understanding and I would say sympathy and compassion in our country for things. It's like, you know, just because so many people are depressed doesn't mean that each of those people that make up all of those people that have depression, each of those people is one person. It's important, you know, and it's important for us to continue to educate ourselves on mental health issues. And, I think as long as we don't, and we don't, I mean, I don't think that we can prevent, you know, everything that happens as a result, every bad event that happens as a result of mental health issues. But I think as we educate ourselves more and we become a more compassionate society towards mental health, I think things will slowly change. I think people don't understand it. I think there aren't a lot of options. I think the insurance system sucks, you know. Even with the affordable health care and things like that, I still think it sucks. And it's not just about insurance, it's about finding the appropriate, you know, needs and care and wraparound services, and not just seeing a psychiatrist or a family physician for medication, but also getting talk therapy to talk through your issues. And, you know, there are other countries that have all of these resources, but we don't, you know. And I'm just speaking for the United States right now, and it's very, very sad. And there's people out there, probably a lot of you, that are suffering silently, you know, that don't, I don't know, you know. And, like, it's the same as for me. And I think because there is a stigma attached to it, it's like we don't talk about it unless we have to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't bring it up in counseling until it surfaced. Which is weird, because I'm not, like, ashamed or embarrassed at all about being in recovery or being an addict or an alcoholic. So, and nor should anybody be ashamed about any kind of mental health issue whatsoever. So I don't know, like, I wouldn't say, like if I was in a meeting, I would have no problem talking about it, you know. But I think if I was out to dinner, like, with friends of mine that, like, didn't know about recovery and we didn't talk about mental health issues and they didn't know my mom's history and things like that, no, I don't think I would bring it up. You know, I just don't. So anyway, it's something I don't talk about on here very often. And I think for me, like, it's always really important to tell my truth, to tell what's going on with my life. And, you know, that's why I talked to Tanya about it. That's why I called my sponsor. That's why I plan on, you know, talking to my counselor about it this week, because I don't want it to be active in my life, you know. I don't want to be ruled by that. And I want to be able to enjoy my life. And yeah. I think, you know, like, one of the things a lot of people will say, well, why don't people go get help? It's like, where do you start? Like, people don't know a lot of times. Like, you know, I mean, I've worked in the field for so long that, like, I mean, if you lived in Indianapolis, I could tell you 15 places to go find help. But it's like, you know, somebody contacted me and was asking me about Al-Anon, and they were like, I have no idea, like, where to even look that up, you know? And so I got online and I looked up Al-Anon in their city, and I, like, screenshotted it, and then, like, I sent them, like, the Al-Anon, like, main number, and I said, hey, I hope that this helps, you know, or I don't remember what I said, but this was not too long ago, but, like, call this number and they'll direct you to the right people. And it's like, a lot of times it's like when you're sitting at home and you're just, you know, you're suffering from issues, it's like, you know, first of all, especially with, like, addiction issues, I mean, unless you really hit some kind of bottom that you're like, I can't do this anymore, you know, most people don't want to pick up the phone and reach out for help. They're scared. You know, fear is what underlies that. And so mental health is the same way, you know, and then I think after the fear, it's like, well, I don't know who to call or where to even look up. Or, okay, I look it up and then there's 20 numbers. Which one's the right number to call? You know, or is this a good program? Is this not a good program? And it's like, you know, it's overwhelming. And I think a lot of people are like, well, then I just won't do it. And so that's a lot of people that are, you know, suffering from untreated, you know, alcoholism and addiction, and people that are suffering from untreated, you know, mental health issues. And then there's a lot of people that are, you know, mismedicated, misdiagnosed in our country because they're going to see family physicians instead of psychiatrists because they can't afford it. Psychiatrists are very, very expensive, you know? And so a lot of family physicians do the best that they can, but they're not specialists and they really shouldn't be treating people, you know? And that is a huge issue that I have. I will tell you that is something that I really believe is that if you're being treated medically for any kind of mental health issue whatsoever, you should be treated by a specialist, and that would be a psychiatrist, or that would be like somebody like a PsyD, like a psychologist doctorate that can medicate, that understands the medications, that understands the combination of medications, that understands the diagnoses fully. You know, that's why I'm not a doctor, so I don't do all that. And in the state of Indiana, when I was practicing, you know, in a treatment facility, we didn't do that anyway. We didn't have the power to do that. We had doctors that we worked with, psychiatrists that did that. And it's important. It's very, very important that people get the right diagnoses. You know, if you had a heart problem, you wouldn't go to your family physician and then they say, yeah, you have a heart murmur. Well, what should we do? Well, let's put you on blood pressure medication, and you don't check anything else out. And then, you know, a year later, you know, you have a mass heart attack and you go into the emergency room and they take x-rays and they do like a history check on you and they realize that you've had 4 heart attacks in the last, you know, 5 years. Well, your family physician can't tell. That's why you need to go to a cardiologist. You need to go to a heart specialist. And we go medically to specialists. But when it comes to mental health issues, a lot of times we don't. You know, when we don't take mental health and addiction issues as seriously as we take medical issues, and they are just as serious, if not more sometimes. And there's so many people out there suffering silently that do not need to suffer. So, you know, like I say, find some help in your area. If you don't know where to find help, go to the psychologytoday.com website. There's a find a therapist on there. Any therapist can refer you. Call your nearest hospital. Tell them, I need to find some help, a treatment program, a detox, a psych unit, you know, a psychologist, somebody. Can you refer me to somebody? Any local hospital can do that for you. Ask a nurse, ask a doctor can help you do that. So reach out to those resources. Okay, so Alex and I in 2009 started a website, Rant, and it all started as a joke because I don't have a whole lot longer. I don't want this to be another hour and 20-minute vlog. And it all started as a joke because we were like reading something by Perez Hilton, which is so surreal because somebody tagged me and Perez Hilton in something yesterday or the day before, and I was like, this is so weird. This is where it all started. Because if it hadn't been for our website, which when we started doing a lot of fashion stuff on there, we started getting invited to a lot of fashion shows in Indianapolis by local designers, and that's where I met the woman who ended up owning the publishing company. She lived in India, she now lives in Germany, who, she's a good friend of mine. So anyway, the publishing company that published my book, and that's how it all happened. We were standing in a fashion show, and I met her, and we started talking, and she was getting ready to go to Africa, and she went there to work with tribal indigenous women over there in like textiles and design and things like that. And so anyway, and then because she came from a retail merchandise background to Indiana University, and then she went over there, and then she met her husband, I think, in Dubai, and then he said, what do you want to do? And she said, I want to start a boutique publishing company, and so that's what happened. But anyway, so if it hadn't been for the website, I never would have met her. I wouldn't even be here right now, because she would never have recommended me to go to BookTube, and I never would have started a YouTube channel. Okay, so Alex and I start this, we're sitting in this Basbo's Pizza, which is one of our favorite restaurants, and we're talking about something that Perez Hilton put out. And we were like, you know, we could do this with people that are local. Like, we could write a local blog that's basically like a Page 6, you know? Like Page 6 in New York City. Where they talk about, like, all the local socialites and celebrities. And so we went into it very intentioned that we were going to pick a group of, like, 20 people that were, like, the movers and shakers in the Indianapolis, like, not just, like, the going out scene, but they were the people that were, like, the people that owned bars, the people that owned, like, the upscale restaurants, the people that were, like, having these, like, massive 500 parties, and the Indy 500. You know, the people that were really, they were the power people in Indianapolis, like, on a social level. And, like, nothing happened if they weren't there. And so we did this list. Well, we started by talking, it was real low-key when we started. It was Indianapolis Pride weekend. And we wrote this article about this drag queen that wasn't able to perform at Pride because she got fired from her job at this bar here. And I mean to tell you, we did not know what we were getting ourselves into. It took off like nobody's business. But flash forward, we were doing all this kind of stuff, and that Christmas, we put out, we used to do this thing called the Sexy List every year at Christmas time. And we would put on there like the top 20 sexiest people in Indianapolis. And the people that we chose, like, we defined sexy, I can't remember how we defined it, but it wasn't just about how somebody looked. It was about who they were as well as a person, you know? And we started off with just kind of people that we wanted to know. And, like, we picked, like, 20 people who, like, I mean, to tell you that, like, everybody on that list are, like, dearest friends of ours now. It was so funny. Like, we were such newbies. I mean, we were so, like, naive to the world. We had no idea. And, so we started this website, and, like, within 6 months, I mean, these people were our friends. We were going out to everything. We got into everything here in town. Indianapolis can be a very social city. And there's a lot of, like, you know, parties that go on, you know, the charity issues that go on, lots of stuff like that in Indianapolis that I don't know that people are aware of. And there was, like, mass wealth here too that we don't have, but we were going to all those parties. And so let me just tell you, we were very excited by all of it. And we covered fashion shows, we did all kinds of stuff, and then down the road, I need to stop adjusting this thing. Okay, so anyway, flash forward. I don't know why I'm telling this story, but we would go to all these things, right? So anyway, I was reading this article tonight from 2011 this message that he and we had back and forth on Facebook, and he must have posted some, like, shitty message or something about us, and I, like, responded to it, and I'm like, I'm reading this article, and I'm like, bitch, you had a backbone, okay? Like, you were not afraid. I let him have it. It was all about, I should pull in here and read this to you guys, okay? It is so funny. I mean, I would never do that if we were not friends today, but we're all good. When we see him, we're totally fine. So what had happened was, okay, we had a friend of ours here in town that at the time, we'll just call her Mrs. Jones, okay? Although she wasn't as old as Mrs. Jones from The Graduate. But Mrs. Jones inherited quite a lot of money when she was like 18 years old for other circumstances. So anyway, she inherited a shit ton of money. I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars, shit ton of money, okay? Very smart businesswoman too, and is one of our dearest friends. So anyway, very, very smart businesswoman. So But she's not somebody that like flagrantly throws her money around, and I've actually learned a lot from her about like if we went out to dinner, like if, you know, like I remember we went out to dinner with her the very first time. She invited Alex and I out for like brunch and for our birthdays. We met her like right after our birthdays. She's like, I want to take you guys out for brunch and whatever. But like, she never like is somebody that like always pays the bill and stuff like that, which I so respect about her, because it's like, she knows what boundaries to set to not get taken advantage of, because she's had a lot of people take advantage of her, including her own family members. And it was interesting when Jeffree Star was talking about that in the Shane Dawson video, because I immediately thought of her. Like, she's had huge issues with very close family members, and I always felt really bad for her about this. So anyway, he must have posted some note, okay? Because I read this message. This is too much. It's too hilarious. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be reading this. But I go back up here, okay? This is from March 28th of 2011. This is my response to him. Before you decide to leave your note up, let me tell you that you'll probably regret it. Almost everything you posted was incorrect. Actually, and this was about, okay, so we had sat in this VIP section, right? Our friend had gotten this VIP section at this like upscale bar here in town. Corey Feldman, the actor, happened to be in town, okay? He came in, yes, in a Michael Jackson jacket, sunglasses, glove, and everything. No lie, okay? He came in and they said, can he sit in your section? And we were like, yeah, absolutely. Well, he came in with this guy and this guy's girlfriend that did like this TV show thing here in town. And they sat down there and they thought it was like the club section when it was our friend section. We had no clue that Corey Feldman was coming. We didn't really care. Other than Goonies, I'm not really a Corey Feldman fan, okay? So it wasn't like we really knew that, you guys are like, we could care less. So it was like, we didn't care that he was there. But this dude comes in and totally takes over, like he's running the show, and it's like my friend's section, right? And she's like sitting there like, is this really going on? Like, I literally bought the alcohol for me and my 4 friends, minus me, because I don't drink. And she's like, and here they are drinking all of this alcohol and not even saying thank you or acknowledging her whatsoever. So anyway, he got real righteous about it and posted some shit about it on Facebook, apparently. Almost everything you posted was incorrect. Actually, our section had been reserved and paid for by Mrs. Jones. I told so-and-so we probably wouldn't be there long, and if you guys, including you, wanted to sit there because you were 2 hours late, you could feel more than welcome. I've always had an issue with that. The alcohol your girlfriend and everyone else drank at our table had been paid for by Mrs. Jones. The stocky guy was actually, and this was like somebody from another country, it was like a Miss so-and-so, was actually so-and-so's boyfriend. And as far as Corey Feldman being yours, we could care less, and I'm sure he isn't owned by anyone. What you don't realize by starting this is that you're messing with Mrs. Jones, who doesn't like to be messed with. But so be it. If this is the fight you want to have, quite frankly, to this guy, we didn't even know Corey wasn't in town, nor did we care. Had you even had the courtesy to say thank you, we wouldn't have said anything. If what you're trying to prove is that you two have class, I think you just displayed the opposite. But thank you for the attention. You obviously understand exactly what we're doing. By the way, I'm sure Mrs. Jones will be thrilled you entertained your celebrity guest on her dime, Peter. Oh, Mrs. Jones, I miss you. She moved out of town. But anyway, she's still a good friend of ours. I was like, girl, I was a little feisty back in the day, wasn't I? I'm a little calmer today. I don't let that shit bother me. It's just not worth it. A true story, though, he sat right next to me the whole night, Corey Feldman. Rather bizarre, honestly. I know some of you out there absolutely love him. He was just bizarre. He didn't say one word. He didn't take the sunglasses off. He just sat there like this the whole night. He didn't drink. He didn't do anything. He just sat there like this the whole night. Didn't say anything. They like ushered him in, these people, and then like they sat down, and it was like the weirdest thing. It was the weirdest thing. I was like, and Alex goes, who is this guy? Hey, Alex had no clue who he was, right? And I go, that's Corey Feldman. Like when they came in the door, I was like, oh shit, that's Corey Feldman. And Alex goes, he goes, who's Corey Feldman? I go, he was in Goonies, he was in The Lost Boys. I go, friends with Corey Haim that passed away. He was like, who? Alex had no clue. I'm like, Lost Boys, Alex, Goonies, like Corey Feldman, like this is a big deal. So he comes over and he sits down, and he sat like down in between me and my friend Mrs. Jones, and he just sat there the whole night like he was a nervous wreck. It was the weirdest thing. But I've heard that like he suffers a lot from like social anxiety and stuff like that, and he has a lot of other issues. I'll be real honest, I'm talking to my ass right now. I don't know shit about Corey Feldman other than what I've seen in movies. I don't know anything about him. But people want to know all the time about me meeting celebrities. There's a celebrity that I met. I think a lot of times celebrities don't want to be bothered. They're just like normal people, you know? Like the rest of the message goes in about people asking him for pictures. And I'm like, we didn't ask for a picture with Corey Feldman. I mean, I always feel bad bothering people, you know? We've met back in the day. So this is what our website turned into. We were asked by certain like bars, events that were occurring to entertain celebrities. That's what we did, Alex and I. We entertained celebrities. There was a lot of them, a lot of musicians that we met that came to town, a lot of people. And I mean, we've met some pretty big deal celebrities. And I mean, I could tell you some stories that I was absolutely, and I won't even tell you who they are because it just doesn't matter. And if I start talking about who they are, I want to tell you the stories. But there are some things that, I mean, I just could not believe. I was shocked. You know, there are some people that, and my opinions changed about some of these people too. Here's the other thing. I was going to say so-and-so was very, very nice, but my opinions changed about this person since then. Because now they're like hyper political and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. It was fun. It was fun back in the day, you know, to do all that kind of stuff. But there's like, I think sometimes, like this is gonna sound weird, but like I think wasn't that so petty, that whole conversation about like a VIP section? Like I don't miss that at all. Like I really don't. But you know, like I think like the only thing that saved Alex and I, honestly, and that saved our relationship and saved our asses. I'm like sitting in a grocery parking lot that's closed. I should probably leave. Is that we were too innocent to know better. You know, like we really were. And I don't know really how to explain it any better than that. But like, you know, I had been sober for, you know, over. Well, I mean, at that point I was 36, 37. I was almost 37 years old. So I was sober for 13, almost 14 years at that point. And Alex, you know, like, had tried some drugs in high school or in college and stuff like that, but really didn't like it. And we were both kind of just very naive and innocent to this whole world that was going on around us, you know, and just a lot of drugs and a lot of, like, seediness and a lot of, like, just really disturbing stuff. And, you know, I don't know, there was just, like, a lot that happened that, like, I didn't really want to see, if that makes sense. You know, at the end of the day, like, it was exciting, and we got to meet a lot of people. We interviewed a lot of people. You know, our website ended up becoming a celebrity interview website. Now Alex only interviews DJs, and turns it in. It's now electronic dance music, and we got to interview some amazing people. Jackie Collins twice, Charlene Harris that wrote the Sookie Stackhouse novels that they turned into True Blood. You know, Mike Ruiz, the photographer, all of the RuPaul's Drag Race girls up till we changed it over. Every season we would interview them all before the season came out. Casts of like so many reality shows, we'd interview the whole cast. Got to meet the cast and talk to the cast of reality shows. Lauren Conrad was one of our very first interviews that we ever did, you know, from the Hills and Laguna Beach. And they were all kind of like D-list celebrities, a lot of them that we interviewed. But I got to interview Erica Andrews, who was my all-time favorite, you know, female impersonator of life. And it was cool. It was very cool. But that part of it, the interviewing and the writing and the researching and stuff, wasn't seedy. The going to some of the parties and entertaining people and seeing things that I didn't really care to see. You know, I really am, at the end of the day, pretty much a homebody that likes to sit at home with my dogs. And the reality is, as much as Alex likes to act bougie and he likes nice things and he likes to travel, we walked into some situations that we both looked at each other and thought to ourselves, this just went to DEFCON 5. You know, like, this is not what we're about. Like, this is not who we are as people. And I'm really a believer, and this is just my personal belief about my higher power, but I'm really a believer that God sometimes does for you what you cannot do for yourself. And, you know, we had gone to this party, it kind of all started with a white party and ended with a white party. We went to this white party at the end of this year with our friend Mrs. Jones, and this was a couple years after that, though. This was probably, I don't know, 2013, that August, and all these people were talking about going to this after party, and they were all trying to get cocaine and all this kind of stuff. And I remember I was sitting outside with my friend, and Mrs. Jones, and I said to her, I said, I'm not doing okay. And she said, I can tell, sweetie, what's going on. And she'd always been supportive of my sobriety. And she said, let's go. And I said, are you sure? She goes, yeah, let's go. And she went inside and she got Alex, and she's like, Peter's not doing okay. And I literally, like, I started almost like screaming at this party. I was like, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. I mean, I started saying it like that. It was like, it was weird. And we left, and Alex was like, babe, are you okay? Like, what happened? And I said, I don't know. I said, it was too much. Like, I feel like I've been dealing with this for too long, and I haven't been going to meetings, and I don't really have any recovery, and it's just all around me. It's just all around me. I don't know how I'm surviving. I have no spiritual foundation. I mean, I didn't say all that. I mean, I said, you know, I don't know, like that. I just freaked. But, you know, later what I realized was that I had no spiritual foundation. I had no emotional sobriety, nothing. Like, it was scary as shit to me, you know? And, and then that was like in August, and I kind of went on this downward spiral. Like, I really didn't go out or do anything. Like, Alex and I would like go out, you know, on little dates and stuff, but other than that, from like August to like January, I didn't really do anything. And then in January was when I called Tanya and I said, I need to go to a meeting. And she said, you know, I've been praying for you to ask me that for 4 years. And I went to a meeting and my life changed. And I really think, like, this is crazy. I've, like, really never thought of it this way before. I always think about it as in January. But I really think that white party was the end for me. You know, I think that was God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. I think he was pushing me over the edge, maybe. I don't know. You know, I'm not a religious person. You guys know that. But I watched this woman telling this story the other day. I don't know, like, I'm so into, like, watching, you know, these, like, aha moment things, and it was some church, and she speaks for some church, and it was right underneath an Oprah thing, and the video was called The 2 Words That Saved My Marriage, or something like that. And so I went and I watched this video. I didn't watch, there's an hour-long version and there was like a 4-minute version. I only watched the 4-minute version. But this woman was talking about how she was having an affair and her husband didn't know it, and she had like this magical life, but like she was fucking it all up, and she was basically living 2 lives. And the way that she dealt with it was that she got like into this like power running, like she was marathon running and stuff. And so one day she was running. Did I talk about this on here already, or did I tell Tanya about this? I think I told Tanya. And she said, I could tell you the exact square. Oh my God, the battery's gonna die. She said, I could tell you the exact square on the sidewalk where I broke down. She said, but I got down on my knees, sobbing. And I looked up to God, and she said, I did not say, help me. She said, I said, break me. She said, because I had to be broken before I could be built back up again. And I was like, when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, that's so true, you know? But I really think that's what happened to me back then. It's like I was broken. And I really think at that moment, I was gonna go back into 12-step meetings and get sober and work a program. I mean, I was sober already, but you know, like emotionally sober, work a program and find my spiritual foundation again, or I was gonna use. And I don't even think that I realized, you know, after 15 years of sobriety or whatever at that point, that I was that close to using. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't even think it was conscious. But I think I was that close, looking back, that it was going to be like that. It was either going to be, at that moment, I'm going back and I'm going to get emotional sobriety and I'm going to live a great life, which I do, or I'm going to use. And I don't even think I realized at that moment how close I was to that, you know? That's pretty scary. That's pretty scary, you know? I mean, and I've seen, and maybe, you know, that's the lesson I learned from my friends that have had double-digit sobriety and then have gone back out there. It breaks my heart, so. God, this vlog, you guys, has gone really, truly all over the place tonight, and the battery is literally, like, on dead, so I need to stop this before it says charge battery, because it doesn't give me as long as my old camera did. But, I love you guys, and I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. I know the vlog was everywhere. Just enjoy it for being random and crazy, I guess. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.